Hello everyone, good afternoon. So for today's video, we're going to talk about globalization and the impact of globalization in hospitality industry in terms of human resource management recruitment policies. So before we tackle the PowerPoint presentation, I just want to give you a little bit of idea and information on how do I get the information or the PowerPoint presentation itself. So I use the ABI Inform database, in which is one of the most comprehensive database in the line of business industry. So it's basically the bold strategy. The database features thousands of full-text journals, dissertation, working paper, which is actually very helpful while I'm coming up with this kind of presentation. So the articles that I used was critically reviewed, were published in the last 10 years to ensure they capture the current events of globalization, productivity, hospitality industry, and of course, the human resource management. So the title of the journals that I used is The Aspect of International Human Resource Management and the Hospitality Industry. So what comes into your mind when you hear the word globalization? So basically a lot, right? So one of the definition of globalization is that it is commonplace and it is used to discuss the circulation of goods, the fast and the furious of exchange of ideas, and the movement of people. When you say circulation of goods, so basically in globalization, there is a importation, exportation of goods. It could be products that is produced in locally and product that is produced on the parent country. We're going to exchange that one. So that is part of globalization. The fast and the furious exchange. So the fast and furious exchange defines exchange of idea, conferences, international convention. Um, it could be APEC summit or the ASEAN summit and the Olympics. That is part of globalization where two participants or all over the world is actually coming up together to share ideas. And the movement of people. Movement of people is basically where the human resource management involved from one person or parent country, which is the residing country of that particular candidate who wants it to work abroad. That is part of globalization. So in different parts of the world, there's a lot of definition. First is in the Korean Pentecostal missionary. It means new opportunities to spread the faith, convert lost souls abroad. So basically a people from the parent country who's residing in the parent country who wants to work abroad. And of course, to the American shoe company executive, it means managing a far-flung supply chain to get the product to stores. So the importation and the exportation of the food product or the product itself actually defines as globalization. To an Indian television viewer, it means something a variety of new shows, some adapted from foreign formats. So it's not always about the product, it's not always about the people, but it's about the culture itself. Sometimes a lot of television from India who actually adopt the cinematography, the storyline, the the outcome of the television that they produce. And of course, to the Filipinos, for us, global justice advocate, it means rules of the global game that favor North over the poor South. But one thing is common, or one thing in common that I actually notice about that one is for all their diversity, these examples have something in common. They indicate some of many ways which more people become closely connected across the large distances and grow more aware of their connections as well. So it's always about connection. So in this diagram, we're going to talk about the international human resource management in the hospitality industry. This is basically my um, where this picture shows globalization or approaches to international recruitment. There is ethnocentric, polycentric, or regiocentric, and geocentric. This four we're going to talk about later on. So first is ethnocentric, or hiring from the parent country to go to the host country to fill in the position in any part of the world. This involves centralized system, or basically characterized by a high level of authority by the headquarters. So hiring people from the parent country. If you want to fill an executive position in a foreign country, you should relocate one of your existing employee for the parent country who is permanently resident of your parent country or hire person to live in a host country for the job. So it's basically there is a base where they're going to train all the employee who are going to be who are going they will deploy all the employee that they trained in different parts of the world where job or opportunity comes in. So the second is the polycentric. When you say polycentric, it is hiring of local people of the host country to fill in the position in a particular company. So it allows more local responsiveness. So multinational company employs manager from the host country as they know the culture itself, the people, on which might lead to more effective staff management. So they already know how the host country is working. They also, but part of this one, or they might also encounter difficulties in dealing with multinational company and obstacles in managing solve of its core value. It also create a contract with local recruitment agency. You could actually do that also, where the base country we're going to, ask for a local agency to produce a people who could actually manage their business. So the next one is region-centric. When you say region-centric, it is hiring of the people transferring from or hiring people or transferring people from one region to another region in the same host country to fill in the open position. So when you say region-centric, it is usually company uses this approach to lessen the cost of the amount um, of transferring employee from the parent country or the base to the host country. But taking into consideration that this might also have a cultural differences and also communication barrier which involves globalization that may exist. So when you say region-centric, it's hiring a people from the same region that is going to transfer if there is a job opening for that particular region in one country. For example, Marriott Hotel in West Virginia and Marriott Hotel in Los Angeles. We know that West Virginia is West Coast and Los Angeles is East Coast. So they were going to ask for someone to fill in the job from Los Angeles and vice versa. So next is geocentric, or hiring the best people to fill in the job regardless of where they come from or where they lived in. So multinational companies desire to have worldwide corporate culture. So basically in one hotel, it is very diverse, right? And there's a lot of employee who coming from different parts of the world who actually manage the business. The reason why there is a lot of very diverse people in hotel industry is because of the effectiveness of that particular person. And this particular approach, experience and competence or competency performance based. It's not about where they come from. So we know that, or we've discussed the four approach, which is ethnocentric, um, polycentric, regiocentric, and of course the geocentric. So this is my suggested solution. Always look for someone who can contribute a lot more for the company. We know that when you hire people, it is really important that you also understand that how this person can contribute to my company in the near future, how this person can contribute um, to solve the problem, regardless of the nationality, regardless of where they come from. The second one is focus more on the vision and the mission of the company. When you're hiring a people from different parts of the world, one thing that you are going to see is the credentials of the person. If he is a willing, or if the vision and the mission of that particular candidate is actually aligned with the vision and mission of the company, which is very important when hiring a people, regardless of where they come from and the nationalities that they belong in. And also always find for a long-term and consistent solution. So if you're hiring a person from different parts of the world, it is really important that you know that that person could actually help you to solve the problem, the current situation of the problem of the industry or your company. At the same time, it is very consistent in terms of work, regardless, again, where they come from. So here are the references that I used in this PowerPoint presentation. And I hope that you learned something from me and from the presentation that I used. Again, my name is Mark Lawrence Rapacon from Masters of Business and Administration and Masters of International Tourism and Hospitality Management. Again, take care everyone and God bless us all.